Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are diving straight into something a little uncomfortable but absolutely fascinating. We're going to explore the incredibly complex landscape of human intimacy, specifically a psychological dynamic that almost everyone experiences, but literally no one wants to talk about openly. See, we usually just assume that if you deeply care for someone, you naturally enjoy being around them. But human psychology, well, as we'll see, it's really never that simple.
So I have to ask, have you ever loved someone that you just didn't like? I know, it sounds completely like a contradiction, right? We are conditioned from day one to believe that loving and liking go hand in hand. But if you're nodding your head right now, realizing there's someone in your life who fits this exact description to a T, I really want to assure you, you are definitely not alone. This is an incredibly common psychological paradox. It's this constant tug of war between the heart's attachment and our actual lived day-to-day reality. Just think about those fraught family dynamics we all navigate, as this insight perfectly captures. Just think of how hard time with parents and siblings can be. After a visit or phone call, you're left feeling drained and depleted. I mean, that really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? You love your relatives, you deeply value the shared history, but the relationship itself, it's far from nurturing. You hang up the phone or you drive home from a family holiday gathering and you realize you literally need 3 business days of recovery time just to feel normal again. Your love keeps pulling you back in, but your energy is just completely zapped.
All right, let's break this down. Section 1. Loving versus liking.
Let's completely deconstruct this societal myth that intimacy automatically guarantees a sense of ease. Think about love for a second. It's abstract, right? It's about caring from afar, genuinely wanting the other person to be happy, and feeling this warm glow in your heart when you think of them. It's a beautiful concept. But liking? Oh, that is an entirely different ballgame. Liking is about spontaneous delight. It's the sheer ease of their presence. It's the simple, everyday act of actually enjoying an hour sitting in a room together. The contrast here is super sharp. Loving someone from a distance is safe and warm. But liking them, that requires surviving the visceral, real-time friction of face-to-face interaction.
And here is the absolutely crucial point. Love can totally exist apart from our daily interactions. You can hold immense affection for someone purely in your memory. In fact, when they aren't standing right in front of you, it's actually way easier to love them. But liking someone demands real-time emotional harmony. It requires 2 people to be perfectly in sync in the present moment. And honestly, that is a much higher operational bar to clear than simply holding a fond place for them in your heart.
Which brings us to Section 2, the need for emotional safety.
This is the unseen architecture of a good relationship, and it's something we rarely discuss. Emotional safety is basically feeling comfortable talking, or even just being quiet with zero pressure to guard your words, defend yourself, or frantically try to keep the conversation going. I mean, just think about what a massive relief that sounds like. Without this intangible foundation of safety, you are constantly on edge. You're carefully selecting your words, you're managing the other person's moods, and you're terrified of a lull in the conversation. When you lack emotional safety with someone, it is fundamentally impossible to actually like being around them, no matter how much you love them.
So why exactly do our closest relatives drain us so much? Well, first off, they almost always have an agenda for us. Second, they might genuinely want us to be happy, but, and this is a big but, only on their specific terms. They want to dictate what we do or how we feel. Third, they are often so consumed by their own worries that they completely lack the emotional bandwidth to hold any space for us. And finally, whenever we try to share a piece of our world, they somehow manage to turn the conversation right back to themselves. We all have that uncle who can pivot a conversation about literally anything back to his golf swing. They might mean well, but these behaviors completely erode that emotional safety we just talked about. Okay, moving right along to Section 3, the role of emotional health. We've seen how interactions can drain us, so let's flip it and explore the traits that actually dictate likability. There is a really stark contrast here. On the likable side, you're looking at traits like high self-worth, a strong capacity for self-regulation, and just a generally pleasant disposition. These are people who can express their feelings in non-threatening ways. But over on the challenging side, we see folks who are self-absorbed rather than self-aware. Instead of regulating themselves, they lash out with anger, sarcasm, or blame. Instead of expressing feelings safely, they act them out. When you lay it out like this, it becomes so clear why one set of traits fosters a delightful connection and the other makes us want to literally run for the door.
And now, Section 4, our hidden, shadowy aspects. Okay, up to this point, we've been looking outward at the flaws of the people we love. We've been pointing fingers, but now we need to slow down, pivot, and turn the mirror inward. What if the friction you feel with a loved one isn't entirely about their annoying habits?
What if it's actually uncovering the shadowy aspects of your own psyche? Sometimes, the exact reasons we don't like someone are deeply rooted in the unexamined parts of our own minds.
Let's really peel back the layers here. Psychology points out 4 major internal shadows that cause us to dislike others. First, we might just have a deep aversion to vulnerability. Second, we could be totally intimidated by someone else's accomplishments. Third, we might project mirrored self-righteousness. Or fourth, harbor some hidden jealousy. On the surface, you just think, wow, I really don't like this person's vibe. But underneath, your brain is doing some heavy, complicated lifting just to protect your own ego.
Let's ground this in some real-world examples, because this happens all the time. Maybe you are unsettled by a loved one's vulnerability simply because you secretly hate your own vulnerability. Or perhaps they remind you of a former partner you haven't healed from. Maybe you get fiercely annoyed by your sibling's self-righteousness because, if you're brutally honest with yourself, it perfectly mirrors your own self-righteousness. Or you find yourself disliking a friend who just left their partner because, deep down, some part of you secretly wants the courage to do the exact same thing. This brilliantly illustrates how our dislikes are very often just our own internal struggles wearing a clever disguise. Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, cultivating what we like. So how do we actually move forward with all this?
The goal of this explainer is definitely not to tell you to just go cut off every challenging family member. Instead, we need to shift our approach. The key here is to stay open to connecting with people with whom you experience a spontaneous delight and actively cultivating those qualities you like within yourself. This is such an uplifting takeaway. It reminds us that, sure, we may always have difficult loved ones, but we need to actively seek out those who offer us that spontaneous delight. Find the people who make you feel emotionally safe, and even more importantly, take the traits you admire in them, that warmth, that self-regulation, that ease, and actively cultivate those qualities within your own heart. It's really about finding the light amidst the interpersonal shadows.
So, I want to leave you with this thought. What are your dislikes trying to teach you about your own shadow? The next time you find yourself deeply loving someone but really not liking them in the moment, take a breath. Ask yourself if there's a lesson hidden right there in the friction. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep reflecting, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.